Now, Ezekiel Elliott is a household name. Dallas Cowboys do have a lot of other guys that they do have to pay, obviously.
Dad wants to talk about Dak and Zeke. I don't know what he wants to say, but I want to hear it.
And I'm curious what you think of that situation.
Well, I think it's really curious, and I don't know how it's going to work out. I got a feeling it's not going to work out great for the Cowboys. I don't know why. And, Jerry Jones, again, Christopher, I listened to you on the radio, and you just never listen to general managers and owners because all they do is lie because they're trying to do what they got to do to get their team together. And, he said something about the running back. You don't need the leading rusher to go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
But, my point of contention, and I know you've said this, and Liam, if you believe it or not, but running backs make offensive linemen. And running backs are like, when they can break tackles, make guys miss, things like that, that empowers the offensive line to do better and going, man, if we just have to do our job, he makes it work. So that's what people don't get. And I fell into this last year because it was such a great story. James Conner from Pittsburgh, hey, putting up numbers, everything, breaking tackles, tough. And this, I said, look, if Le'Veon Bell was putting these numbers up, we would be gushing. But when it's all said and done, we know he's not Le'Veon Bell. He's not close to Le'Veon Bell. And, so there's a big difference. And so Pittsburgh, they ran the ball at times, but really their offense and the running game kind of worked out for them because the passing game was so prolific.
Right. Yep.
And the other thing is they were stacked across the offensive line.
Right.
Every position, good player or a great player, and that's what made it work too.
Yeah, I also think they have better quarterback, better receivers than Dallas.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know. I just think.
Well, it was a better offense too, Liam.
Yeah.
Right.
More diverse. Just it had everything going. So, with Zeke, look, that power running. I knew it with our teams when Joe Morris was in his prime. It was different when somebody else came in, and just many times we had running backs that I'd go to the sideline, and unfortunately, I'm not going to say the names. I go, Coach, put so and so in. I mean, it's there. We're not getting it because you got the wrong guy in the game. And,
right. That is something, Dad. I think it's a very valid point. You can't quite quantify that about a running back because we could see a running back and go, and we talked about this before.
Yeah.
They can get 5 yards, and we go, they got 5 yards. But the good running backs break through that arm tackle and then maybe break another tackle and get 15 yards. And there's just no way to quantify that because they maximize what's there to be had in the running game, carry after carry after carry.
And I just think it's an offense that's built around him.
Yes.
And it's not just around that game. It's around him, around his ability to do that.
You're right. He gives them an unbelievable identity. I think he is one of those running backs that can last the test of time because he's built like a Mack truck, and he can take the punishment. It doesn't seem to wear him out, anything like that. And he's one of those guys, he kind of gets better as the year goes along.
He does.
Which is really important. He's a modern-day version of Emmitt Smith, bigger, faster, stronger.
Right.
And maybe the Cowboys, I will say this, I'm a big fan of Dak Prescott, really big fan.
Yeah.
I think over this offseason, as I kind of did stuff, I went, man, you start watching some of the games, the way he played in big games last year. And I know you've talked about it, Chris or Liam, too. You look, strong, doesn't get hurt, can run, pick up first downs, plays in an offense that really puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback because it's a lot of run, 3rd and 5, pick it up.
Yeah, right.
And he just came through. And the way he handles himself on the field, the way he plays with such heart, really comes through out there, how hard he plays. He plays in the pros just like he did at Mississippi State.
Right.
Except in the pros, he gets better protection.
Yeah, he's got more.
And he's not getting hit as much.
But can he win with that team without Zeke?
Well, that's the question. Listen, maybe the Cowboys know something we don't.
Yeah,
this is a really stretch.
Yeah.
Is this. Do they think the new offense, or if they're going to have a new offense, or Kellen Moore is going to feature Dak more, and they can get away with piecing together their running back situation to still get the same results? And I'd say there's a chance of that,
Yeah.
but I sure wouldn't go anywhere and bet any money on it. Maybe $10, but that would be about it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Dad. I mean, it definitely putting pressure on there, but I talked about that a little this morning with Florio, just that maybe they know something about their pass offense that we don't.
Oh,
All right.
I didn't hear you say that, so I didn't mean to steal
It's
it.
okay. You didn't steal it. It's all good.
I listen to
Why
you every
aren't
day,
you
but I don't
listening
listen
to
every
every
damn
word that comes out of his mouth every time he's on the? You're like giving your dad a homework assignment.
I mean, Josh.
Let him live his life.
Geez, he's only got to. Yeah, it's such a horrible thing. He's got to watch his son on TV every day. All right. So
well, okay.
this is the other thing. Is it me or am I the only one out here right now? Okay, that I find it a little intriguing that we're farther down the line, really, in talking about Dak Prescott contract negotiations and numbers than we are about Jared Goff and contract. Like, there's more conversation about Dak Prescott out there than there is a Jared Goff. To me, I don't know, does that say something to you, Dad? Because it does say something to me. I just think it's odd, and I think it's odd that actually people aren't talking about it more.
Well, it's not that people are not talking about it. I haven't heard a word.
No, I know. And to me, it's like one of those things it's like under the radar, kind of saying it all. We have one team who, yes, this was a 4th-round quarterback drafted who's been to the playoffs 2 out of the 3 years he was in the NFL. Okay, and now we have another team who's the first pick of the draft at quarterback. They've been to the playoffs 2 out of the 3 years in the NFL, and one of those years they were in the Super Bowl. Yep. But we're talking about the other guy and his contract a whole lot more than we are about the guy who was just in the Super Bowl. To me, that speaks volumes about it all, and really what the Rams think of Jared Goff. That at least in my book.
Well, excuse me. I think you're spot on, and I think it's a big year for Jared Goff to prove himself to the Los Angeles Rams that he is the guy to go with for the next 10 years. And, at times last year he had great moments, but as the year wore on, we saw it kind of fall apart a little. Just the fact that the Rams, the way they drafted, trying to get running backs to make sure that Todd Gurley, they got backups for him, signing Malcolm Brown, the draft kid from Henderson, getting him too,
right,
tells me Sean McVay learned a big lesson last year. And, I'm anxious to see what he does this year.
Yeah.
How he calls plays, what he does with his football team, how he manages games. Last year, for most of the part, it was let's go, 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 go. And the defense kind of played the same way. Well, they're going to score. Let's just kind of do whatever. Defense tightens up. The offense is not rolling. They start running the ball. They got more physical. I thought they did a good job with that. And, they took the football out of the hands of Jared Goff.
Right.
So I don't know what happened. I think it would have to be a really, really rough year for them not to re-sign him.
Yep.
But also, they got a lot of guys they've paid a lot of money to. And now, no matter what, is not the time for them to renegotiate a long-term deal with Jared Goff because of the situation they're in.
Yeah, I think I have a somewhat skewed view of Jared Goff because I was at 2 of his worst games last year. I was in Chicago for that Sunday night game,
right,
where
and the Philadelphia game.
He looked like he didn't want to be out there.
Right.
The Philadelphia game at home, which was a terrible game for him and
right.
for his team. And I'm just wondering if maybe this is a situation where the Rams think that they have McVay, and now you can plug in a quarterback who can do what Goff does, just based on the way McVay calls a game.
I think there's a little that sentiment is around the league. I do think that it definitely is. There's a lot of coaches and people that think that that's what the Rams are thinking, and that think the Rams are that McVay is capable of really grooming any type quarterback. And I'm like, and Dad's saying yes, it is, because I'm sure he's heard some of the similar type things from people around the NFL.
Well, it's not only that you hear it, you just got to watch it and see what. Even with Kirk Cousins when he was in Washington with him, what they were doing. I mean, Kirk Cousins was throwing rockets all over the field and making plays too, which he did at Minnesota last year. But finally, he got to a stage, he just goes, I can't take anymore.
Yeah.
Because he got destroyed. I'm watching highlights this morning. I don't know who was talking about Minnesota, maybe you, Christopher. And there's Kirk Cousins throwing the ball for a touchdown against Green Bay in the right corner, and he's getting cut in half as he's throwing the ball.
Right.
So, this is going to be interesting. I think there are a lot of quarterbacks capable of running that offense that fit it. The one thing about Jared Goff, I think he's more mobile than people give him credit for.
Mm-hmm.
But when the NFL, it comes down to this. Yes, he's mobile. I'm sure he's smart. The offense is great. But can you make, which he did at times, the Kansas City game.
Right, the Minnesota game.
He made great throws.
Yeah.
But also I saw, it just shows you, I hate to box it in like this, maybe West Coast quarterbacks are not always good when they have to travel east because of weather.
Right.
I mean, Jared Goff, do you think he ever threw in, what was that in Chicago?
Oh,
yeah.
Windy, cold.
I mean, he looked miserable. He looked like he wanted out of there as fast as
Denver
he could
game was the same way, if you remember. They had a
Yes, I do.
Right.
Yeah.
So say all that stuff, and that's why you evaluate these quarterbacks. You actually have to be careful.
Yeah.
Now, Sam Darnold handled it well.
Right.
A lot to do with whatever. The way he throws, he spins it really hard. The ball really very seldom ever gets away from him. And that would be the other thing, too. When they're open in the NFL, you have to hit them at an unbelievable high percentage of the time.
Right.
And then towards the end of the year, did his arm get tired? I don't know. But I just saw some passes in the playoffs, especially in the Super Bowl, that just have to be hit or thrown differently, and he didn't do it.
I got to wonder also if it's not based at least partially on leadership and personality, simply because of, listen, even when Dak and the Cowboys were struggling last year, there was talk of, don't worry, a deal's going to get done.
Right.
And a lot of us were kind of puzzled. Like, why would you do that right now? And I think it's maybe they know something about him that we don't, intangibles.
Right.
And meanwhile, with Goff, they're winning. And we're not hearing anything.
Any of those things with Goff. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's the case. I don't know.
First off, I really, really get worn out by this. Well, this guy was one. He's been this over the last 2 years. Yeah, he's playing with an all-star team.
Yeah, right.
Holy caramba. Yeah. And this guy, his record is 500. Well, he's playing with a team that shouldn't be 500.
Yeah.
And it just annoys me to no end every year, every week, that people just go right to he wins. What do you mean he wins?
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. It's ridiculous. It really is.
It's the dumbest thing in professional sports right now.
Oh, but analytics tell us that he, on these passes, because nobody's around him.
Right.
He's throwing in perfect situations. They throw it short. I really, Liam, it drives me crazy. Oh, it's all about the numbers. Josh Allen, I heard the other day now, there's a trend here. He's really got to pick up that completion percentage. Hey, you might be right, but he played great last year.
Yeah.
Please shut up.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's not going to be a 67.5 percentage, because you got to do that. And his QBR, oh, man, people bring up QBR. You know how many times I looked at QBR last year, Liam?
How many?
A big fat 0.
Beautiful.
I couldn't care less. I'm judging situations, players, opportunities, what they do, and what are they doing for the team that we can't quantify with damn numbers.
Yeah.
You just talked about leadership. You think Dak Prescott is not the man in that locker room?
He is.
I think what
man.
they said last year, despite the fact that the season at that time was not going well,
that
you heard that, oh, don't worry, a deal's going to get
he's
done.
their guy.
That tells you a lot.
Yeah.
And then you said about Jared Goff, it's not a knock on him. Every quarterback is not the Carson Wentz, Dak Prescott, all these guys that just, they walk in the locker room and the players are like, oh, there's our man. He's the man.
Right.
And Jared Goff, though, he has Sean McVay, who is an extreme alpha male, or whatever you want to call it. I hate to use that phrase.
Right.
But Sean McVay does the work for Jared Goff.
Yeah.
He's going to get the team energized, get on people, keep all that stuff and do all that the quarterback sometimes does, but he doesn't have to do it because his head coach is all over everything.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.